On the next episode of Corner.
I'm sorry, I know I should have let you know that I'd come back.
Is that what you came here to say?
Please, scream. I wanted to talk to you.
Is this some kind of a joke?
No, Abasi, it's real.
I told you never to underestimate Julia.
She just got lucky.
That's why she keeps getting ahead of you.
120K.
Yes.
And an international fight.
Yep. This is the part where you say, oh, thank you, Julia. You are the best manager in the world.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Tasteless. It has no sugar. I can even smell it milk in it. Halafu this chapati ni unga tu zimeshikanishwa na maji.
Guys. If you don't like my cooking, you don't like my chapati and chai, please return them.
If you want something so bad, the universe brings it to you.
I really wonder what these young girls see in such old men.
Clearly you need spectacles. Well, like Sapo, don't talk to Zaka like that.
Can you imagine? The other day, Baby Benito was calling me Bamba. I did not imagine, so I did not respond. Then I heard Dandy.
Wait, what?
Yes, exactly my response. I said what?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
One needs to exert self-control in order to concentrate. Anger is a sign of incapability, whereas patience is the origin of strength and vitality.
Caught in a landslide.
A very good morning to you. We sure do hope that you are getting us from wherever you are and you are keeping well. My name is Betty Kiptum. This is BizCheck this Thursday, the 14th day of May 2020. We continue giving you a whole around coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. And just to start off the program, here are a few facts about COVID-19.
The first thing you do is to wet your hands by getting the water from a running tap or a jug like this one. Then after that, it is now already wet. You get the soap, and then we have to make it a rather. Okay. This one does not get a lot of foam, but the act, as I was saying, the act of friction is what makes the virus to move. And then you need to do the back of the hands. You need to, you need to do this. You need to do this. And then you get in between the fingers, then make sure that the question of wrapping it is more vigorous a bit, so that the fires is moved properly. Then now you apply, you rinse the water, rinsing, running water of course. Then after finishing rinsing, and you need to do it properly, just keep on pouring, yeah. Then now at this juncture, you need to either, more especially at the community level, you need to have it dry on its own. And if you want to dry it, you can use a dry towel or a tissue, and then you dispose it off. But basically, we do recommend that you do the air drying, just like this, so that it goes. And then, after doing this, then you ensure that if you don't have the soap, then you can use the sanitizer, which is here. You sanitize. Yeah, you can. Yeah. But because we have already done the hands with the soap, we don't need to sanitize it.
Well, make sure that you continue washing your hands, sanitizing, and maintaining the social distancing to just lower the risk of getting COVID-19 and also passing it to the people that are around you. Now, as we talk about matters COVID-19, today we want to have a discussion about the property sector. How is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the sector? Remember that many people are now just spending on essential items, putting money aside and not spending it in property. And to give us just an overview of this is Geoffrey Ruiru. He is the director at Salama Lands. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Betty.
Yeah, welcome on set, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to meet you.
So would you just give us an overview of how the pandemic has affected the property sector in general?
Okay, thank you so much. One thing that I would like you to understand is about the property. There's a time to invest in properties.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
In property or real estate,
Mm-hmm.
it's a fixed asset.
Mm-hmm.
And many people have now seen the way to invest is in real estate. The reason being, one, a real estate, it always appreciates even at the time that there is any kind of challenge like this, the pandemic, the COVID-19. So look at, for instance, look at the matatu sector. Matatu sector, right now there is lockdown, there is no transportation of people from one place to another. That means there is no daily earning of those people who have invested in those things. But if you had invested in land, if you had invested in real estate, you automatically get the earning even at a time like this.
But even as you say that people, maybe this is the time to buy land, don't you think that there's a cash crunch? People are not making as much money as they would have wanted to make for them to allow them to make such big investments?
I agree. There is a problem in financial market because, for instance, if you can go to the financial market, there is no imports and exports at a time like this. But all in all, this is the time that the people who have invested in real estate market, they are getting a lot.
Right.
From it, yeah.
There has been an argument that the pricing of most of the property from real estate to both land and the housing bit of it, there has been an argument that the prices are exorbitant. At this time, there has been a glut. Definitely, there's been an oversupply in most of the subsectors of the real estate sector. Do you think that this is the time to offset those properties?
This is not the time to sell them or to offset them. The reason being, I've told you this is the time to invest in real estate.
That is for the buyer. I'm talking about the seller now.
The seller.
Yes, because there's already an oversupply.
I don't think there is oversupply. Yes.
Okay.
The reason being, land is always limited. And when we talk about that it is scarce, that tells us that the demand is always high. So if the demand is high, the supply is low. So I don't agree with you in terms of supply.
Right.
Yes.
But now, don't you think that at this time when maybe most people are not buying, yeah? We've agreed, both of us, that the money, there's a problem with the cash flows of many people. They may not be buying. That means at the end of it all, do you think that the real estate sector players will drop the pricing? Do you foresee that?
I don't foresee that.
Do you think it will continue appreciating as it has been?
It will continue appreciating. And actually the demand will continue increasing. Because what is happening, generally, what is happening right now in Kenya, for instance, we are using the locally locally manufactured goods. And that tells us that the circulation of money is still there. Because the money that was manufactured by a central bank, it is still there in Kenya. Although it is much of them is spent in health, part of it.
Health and food supplies, you know.
Yes. Does not mean that there is no money in real estate. There's still money in the real estate.
But not as much.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So as people now look to investing at the end of it, maybe when the money comes back, what should they be looking out for? When they're choosing the investments to put their money in?
I've told you the best thing to invest in is real estate and also gold. For instance, when the first case was reported in Kenya on 13th March, what happened? The security or the shares dropped in terms of the value, the market per value dropped down. For instance, KCB, the Safaricom and others. Because people were rushing to sell their securities so that they can invest in real estate and also gold. Because in each and every circumstance, like the one that we are facing right now, real estate always appreciates. And also gold, it will retain the value. You know, I would like to tell you something which is very important, that we call the time value of money. Most of people think that keeping money in the bank is the way to get the investment. I want to tell you no. Right now, we can look at what we call inflation. I think maybe you have ever heard about inflation. We are spending a lot of money to buy very little goods. And that tells us the value of money that you had in the bank has already depreciated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Most of the people who buy these properties, the land, the houses, they do it by taking a loan from the banks. We have said that many people are not now going for loans. Some who had already taken mortgages, few as they may be in Kenya, may not be able to service them. Do you think this will affect the sector?
It is affecting it. I have told you, for those people who are investing to the real estate right now, it will affect them. Because, for instance, the banks, they are not giving the investors the monies to invest in or the loan. Because the reason being, one, they are not foreseeing the capability of repaying the loan. And due to that, it has slowed down in terms of it has slowed down in terms of investment. But this does not limit someone to invest. And I'm saying for the people who have already invested and also who are planning to invest, don't put your money in your bank. If you have money, you have saved for a lot of money in the bank, invest. This is the time to invest.
Okay. Yeah. And when you talk about people investing in these properties, maybe, do you think that at this time there is a limited supply of maybe building materials? Many companies, construction companies, would have imported their materials from China, from Italy. Do you think there is a low supply or a shortage of supply?
Yes, I agree. I told you that the import and export right now, they have slowed down. Even the lockdown, when we talk about lockdown, so that tells us that the goods that are not getting to their destination on time. So there might be those goods, but they are limited at a time like this because there are those kind of challenges that are facing.
Okay. Yeah. So that will definitely affect the construction timelines, completion timelines, and eventually affect the supply in the market, don't you think?
The supply of the goods that construct, eh? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. You deal largely in lands.
Yes.
On March 17th, the Lands Ministry closed the Lands Registry and the Central Registries, land leasing, change of land users, issuance of title deeds, all the paperwork that is involved in transferring land from one person to another was halted for about 28 days.
Yes.
Did that affect the businesses in the land selling sector?
Yes, it has affected the business, because the transaction, there must be those papers to be seen and also to be transferred to one particular person to another.
Okay.
And I think, actually, let me tell you something. There's a high time as a government of Kenya that we need to know how to live with this pandemic, because the truth is this: it is not. Probably we can predict that in the next 2-3 months it will come to an end. But the truth is this: it might not even end at a period of 3 months. So it is a high time we think and we come with new ways on how we can live with it and how we can treat it, and so that we can now venture into this economy.
Right. Yeah. So as we now move forward, what would you like to tell an investor who is wondering, when that time comes, when I have the money, where do I put it? What would you want to tell them?
I would tell them to invest in real estate. It is paying back.
It is paying back, or it will pay back at the end of it. Okay, thank you very much. Well, that is Geoffrey Riru. He is the director at Salama Lands, speaking to us about matters real estate, how it is performing, the property sector in these days of COVID-19. We want to take a quick short break. We will be back with more. Stay tuned.
Next on
Sijauliza mamli ngapi, ngauliza pesa ngapi.
Yaani maendeleo, sisi hatuna maendeleo. Yaani hiyo yako, hiyo ndio maendeleo hiyo.
Maendeleo. Sanduku kwa njia.
Sanduku? Sanduku lenyewe ni wapi?
Toa sanduku kwa njia, ngapita wapi?
Hamna sanduku, ingia mme wangu.
Tujeni kazi zenu
kusaidiana. How can you help me?
Naweza cause confusion kati ya Joel na Millicent.
Usikani masikio hivi. Atemfanya nini?
Tosha na nyumba.
Kazi yako ni kukuja tu huku unatutenganisha mimi na bei wangu.
Have a good day.
Good day gani na tayari saa haribu.
Pia ni Nancy amekubrainwash. Joel hakani mtoto yote ambaye ni wake. Anawapenda wote sawa.
So mfahamu Joel naye.
Habari yako?
Wewe uko kila mahali.
Pia kwa huku. Kwani kuna tabu nyumbani?
Thank you for staying with KBC Channel 1. This is BizCheck and my name is Betty Kiptum. Here in studio, we are having a conversation about the property sector. Remember, since the COVID-19 pandemic hit, many people have not been able to pay their rents. Others have lost their sources of income. And Geoffrey Ruiru, the director of Salama Lands, is just giving us a perspective of how hard hit the sector has been. Well, Geoffrey, you are saying that people should be investing in real estate at this point in time. The auctions continue, you know, auctions of property continues. Do you think that that is really the right direction people should take?
Okay, I have just explained to you why you should invest in real estate.
Yes.
And the reason why I've said so, for instance, you had invested in securities, in shares, and you have accumulated that amount of money for a period of time. And now you want to invest in an investment that will be more safe for your investment. Another reason why I've told you the real estate is the best, because no matter the circumstance, it will always appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your projections for this sector moving forward?
The sector will continue, and the demand will continue being high, and there is no decrease in terms of price that that I can foresee in even future, because already real estate, it will always appreciate because the demand is always there.
The demand has always been there, but you know, you have to also appreciate the fact that most buyers have held on their money waiting for the prices to come down, because prices in Kenya, to be specific, of both land and houses have been skyrocketing at they have been at exorbitant rates. Do you think that maybe the sector needed these pandemics, hard as it is, so that now it turns to the advantage of the buyer?
I would say no.
The
reason being, I've just explained to you the forces of demand and supply, what it operates in the market. And like I have told you, the supply is actually limited. So even if there is limited cash, there is no money circulation in our economy, the land demand will always go high, and as I've told you. So there is no any movement or any particular time that is coming soon that land will depreciate. Yes.
There is no time that land will depreciate. Not in Kenya. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Geoffrey, for your thoughts. Well, that is where we put a close to this conversation on matters the property sector. That's Geoffrey Ruiru, the director of Salama Lands, just giving us a perspective on how the pandemic has impacted on the sector and the way forward. Thank you for watching Channel 1. We will be back with another conversation in a few minutes. Stay with us.
The Juakari operators and others, our saloonists, our mamboga, our barbers, our economy to a large extent depends on you. We cannot allow Kenyans to die because of non-distancing in any sector. So those of you who are carrying out the hair-cutting business, in barbershops, in saloons, I am appealing to you today. Ensure that social distancing, fumigation of your working places, masks are used at all times. Just assume that everybody is positive and now deal with that situation. Participation of our citizens in the fight against the disease would be our key success factor.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Lakini it's not that easy.
Not that easy is not good enough. I hope you'll not let me down.
I'll try my best, Dad. I promise.
Mimi nafanya hivi for your own benefit. Nafikiria na mbele.
Lakini hatuwezi kupita tukichagua tu watu tukiweka tu katika sehemu bwana.
Si masala ya hivyo mume wangu. Najaribu kukubuild kisiasa.
Hivi mtoto atakuwa lini akili lakini huyu?
Manake amekuwa akiniharas. Nikienda nikipakua hiyo nishika mkono. Nikifanya nini si understand yataka nini kutoka kwangu Yusuf.
The most I can do is the word. Thank you for staying with Channel 1. This is BizCheck, and now we want to delve into a conversation that is probably affecting over 14 million Kenyans. That is the cooperatives, the SACCOs in Kenya, which hold about 35% of national savings. Remember, SACCOs represent 14 million Kenyans, as I've said, and they have a balance sheet of about 1 trillion shillings. That said, what is the COVID-19 pandemic doing to them? How are they surviving in these times? And are members going out there to withdraw their savings? To give us an insight into this is Daniel Marube, the Chief Executive Officer of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Welcome on set.
Thank you very much indeed.
Give us a picture of how things are going right now for the cooperatives.
Thank you very much. Now, since the first case of COVID-19 was detected in this country, the whole country went into panic.
Right.
Businesses closed, and we have noticed that many people lost their jobs.
Right.
Businesses, especially in the private sector, own small and medium enterprises, they have closed their shop. And we see the airline, the people who are in the hotel industry, the people who are self-employed, their impact of COVID-19 on their business has been massive. We have noticed that the people who are on half salary, the people who have lost their jobs, and they were members of the cooperative sector or the cooperative society in one way or the other, they are unable to do their regular remittances in terms of repaying their loans or their continued savings. So we see that some sectors have been heavily affected and others are running their businesses normally.
Normally. Could you just give us those sectors that have been affected?
Now, the areas that are affected are housing. For example, now, about 80% of the housing cooperative societies have been heavily impacted by COVID-19.
Right.
You would notice that most of the people who have taken loans for mortgages are self-employed. They are in sectors whereby they cannot do any businesses. They are closed down. So those ones have a problem of repaying their loans at the moment because your business is not performing. If you go around town, the people who are in micro and small and micro businesses, those are the majority of the people who have taken house mortgages. And we are seeing that at the moment, because their businesses are not working, they are not able to pay their loans that they have taken to secure themselves for a decent house.
Right.
Yeah, those are the most affected ones. And also we see our members who are in the hospitality sector, the hotels, the aviation sector, the airlines. They are either on half salary or most of them are not working. The suppliers of services to the airlines, for example, all those ones we are seeing their businesses have been affected, their incomes have been affected, their ability to pay their loans has gone down, has been affected. So that sector it has a problem.
It has a problem.
But we still have other sectors which are still running. We have the people who are employed and working on essential services, security, medical areas, employees of government, their cooperatives, their circles are running normally. So to them, life is going on. The cooperative societies are giving their loans to their members normally, and they are getting their cash flows have not been affected.
Okay,
yes.
So that is interesting, because now there are two sides of the divide.
Yes.
So for the circles that many people cannot honor their loan repayments, what are the options for their members? What can they do to even ease the effects this is having for their members?
Very good. Now, those cooperative societies or circles whose members have either lost their jobs or they are on half salary, all their business is quite low. Now, our request is very simple. You know, madam, the cooperatives is a group of people who have come together to support each other socially and economically. So a society whose members have been affected, they have three options. You know, every cooperative society has its rules and regulations in the name of bylaws that it determines on how they run their businesses. And these members elect leaders amongst themselves who will be running as officials and directors of their cooperative society. So now, because this is a group, it's a family of people, they can be able to agree amongst themselves and say, because our members have been affected, we can give them a longer period to repay their loans.
Okay.
If, for example, you are taking a loan for that 6 months and your business is down, the board of directors whom you have chosen amongst yourself to guide you can listen to your case and say, instead of 36 months, now we can give you 40 months. To give you room so that you can organize your finances properly.
Okay.
So we do not have a blanket solution, but we are saying let them go into their family of a cooperative society, discuss with their members individually and say, I think instead of paying my loan for 12 months, give me 18 months.
Okay.
So it is provided within their bylaws, so that each society will deal with their members differently according to their businesses and the environment in which they are. But those whose businesses have not been affected, they should continue giving their members their services, loans, and as normal.
Okay.
As
and
usual.
How is this situation affecting the liquidity now of the circles themselves and the survival of that circle itself?
Thank you. As I've given you two different types of cooperatives. The circles which are running their businesses normally, and those who have been affected.
Right.
Yeah. Now, those who have been affected, obviously, their cash flows have been definitely affected. Because let's take an example of employees of 10 hotels in Mombasa who have formed a circle. The hotels have closed down. The employee was getting his service charge. The employee was also getting his salary. And he maybe had committed the entire salary to the circle and he was living on service charge.
Right.
Now there's no service charge. They are on half salary. It means that society cannot be able to get their monthly deductions and contributions from their members. So they will definitely have a serious problem on cash flows, because most of the money now, which they had previously received, has been given to their members in terms of loans. And the members now cannot be able to pay the loans because they are not on payroll and they are not getting any other income.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So as they now grapple with this problem of the cash flows being affected, is there a place for giving members loans at this time, specifically to just cushion them at this time? Is there a place for cooperatives in that?
Now, we don't have a single point upon which we can be able to say we have a pool of resources that the cooperatives who have been affected can go and borrow, like a central bank. But we are now planning in our new, we have come up with what we're calling a national cooperative policy.
Okay.
Within it, we have organized to have a fund, a cooperative fund, In the future, we have seen the opportunity for us to develop a fund that can be able to caution us as the cooperative movement, those who are affected in the future. But at the moment, every cooperative society, we are trying our best to make sure that we are serving our members effectively. And maybe I've heard people talking about panic withdrawal.
Yes.
We have not, I don't have any figures today or any evidence to show that members have panicked and they have gone to withdraw the resources from their savings from their cooperative society. This is because we know that this COVID-19 is for a season.
Okay.
The season will come. Is
And it will
for the
end.
time being, we are surviving. We want to be alive. And the moment we get out of this COVID-19, we need to rejuvenate, we need to grow. And as you may notice, from the very past, we had a financial crisis. The cooperatives emerged to be very strong, and it's what helped the people in the world. In this country, 1992, when we had a crisis in this country, it is the cooperatives which came together and supported, and they helped a lot of people. People came together, and you notice that's the time when we started the SACCOs, when the banks and other financial institutions were very difficult in giving loans to the common mwananchi. And therefore, we know very well that within a short while, the cooperatives will emerge very strongly. This country will be developed through the cooperative philosophy. We know our members, and we are telling our members, please be calm, don't panic. This epidemic will pass, but the cooperative movement is very strong as it is at the moment, and that going forward in a little while, it is that spirit of people coming together, working and bringing our resources together, which will change and develop our economy going forward.
Okay.
Yes.
The SACCOs have and arguably been a very key point in ensuring that Kenyans have a saving culture. Do you think that this challenge we are facing right now will affect that culture?
You know, the culture is what we are. Now, when the economy is booming, we save even more. At this time when the economy is shrinking like now, when we have a COVID-19, this cannot affect our culture. What we know is that even when you have 10 shillings, save 2 bob out of your 10 bob. If you have 200,000, pay your an equal amount percentage of your income. So we are also encouraging our members at the moment that in spite of the economic difficulties that we have at the moment, let us not forget to continue saving. The saving should continue even during the difficult times, so that after these difficult times, we will have a seed which we have saved that will help us to propel our economic development.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely, it has been said that it's not how much you have, but how well you manage what you have, yeah?
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and now for the loans that the people have, that they have not been paying, or they might have a problem paying, you've said that they can go talk to their SACCOs or talk within their SACCOs, because SACCOs are very people-centric, as you said.
Yes.
Do you think that just the talking without a government directive will work?
Yeah, you know, thank you very much. A cooperative is a people thing. It's a people business. We are people-centered. It is our business. The government may give a policy guideline, but in terms of the decision on what's going to happen in the cooperative society is based on the members agreeing. We have our policies, we have our own bylaws that guides us on how to do businesses. And the cooperative members, the members of a cooperative society or a SACCO, have a right to voice their feelings. They can discuss together with their leadership, with their own SACCO, and agree. For example, some societies could say, we want to charge interest rate of 12%. Another cooperative society will come and say, for us, interest is not a major important thing that we need in our cooperative society. We want financial accessibility and affordability.
Right.
So the members will make a decision on how they want their cooperative societies run. So the government can give a direction, but in terms of implementing that direction, it's all lies on the hands of the members and their leaders. Yes.
This pandemic has come at a time when most AGMs, if not really all, have not had their AGMs. You know, most SACCOs have not had their AGMs. Yes. How do you think that is going to pan out now? Yeah, you know, the organ, the biggest organ of the cooperative society in terms of making decisions is the AGM. The AGM will determine whether how much they are going to make to share in terms of surpluses, or changing their bylaws, or even agreeing on what kind of interest rates they want to charge themselves on the services being offered by their society. However, as you have rightfully noted, the epidemic came at the time when we were starting to have the AGMs. Right. Now, that notwithstanding, the cooperative societies and SACCOs are still running. They are still running. Those who have not held their AGMs, but they have had their books of audited and submitted to the Commission of Cooperatives, the Commission of Cooperatives gave a direction that those cooperative societies can still go ahead and appropriate interest revenue to their members according to their savings. So nothing really has stopped the businesses running. Cooperatives are still running to the point where we can still await the time when we can be able to have the AGM so that the members can ratify some of those decisions. Right. So still, as CAK, we are monitoring what's going on, and the Commission of Cooperatives is also giving guidelines. We are also having guidelines being provided by SASRA, who is the financial regulator for SACCOs. Okay. So business is still going on. I want to confirm that their members, that their resources are being well taken care of. We are there watching to see that all is on well. The government is there, SASRA is there, and the CAK. So we are making sure that the business continues as usual, even as we take care of our lives. Okay. Was the most important. We need to be alive. Right. Yes. Of course, as the SACCOs and all of us take care of our lives, do you foresee that those AGMs will happen really within the year? Don't you think that we might have to go through to the next year for them to happen? Or will we have to take a different format now? You know, we may not be able to do, I know, I have seen the court ruling that we can have, an institution can have a virtual AGM. But you see, the way we are in the cooperative movement, we take care of everybody. Everybody is included in the cooperative movement. Right. There are people who don't have a phone. There are people who don't have access to a TV. So we cannot say that we are going to hold an AGM using Zoom or something. So we know we will be able to see what mechanism we can be able to use. But from where I sit, I am very optimistic that this epidemic will not be here for too long. Even if it means going to November or December, we have the mechanism of calling our special AGMs within a short time so that we can be able to ratify some of the things that we want. But for the time being, I urge the cooperative leaders, the members, first of all, let us heed to the directions, the guidelines being provided by the government through the Ministry of Health, so that we can be alive. We need to survive. We need to be there tomorrow. Very important. So that we can be able to grow our cooperatives. Yes. Now, some cooperatives, some SACCOs have paid their dividends already, early dividends. What are your thoughts on that? Before the AGM or after the AGM? Before the AGM. Yeah, we have given that leeway. We have given that leeway that now that they are, you know, some of our members also, as members of a cooperative society, we plan ahead. So you find that we have planned that by March we will be receiving a certain percentage of my investment in the society, and I will apply it for one or two things. And we said,
because now we are kind of locked within the counties and we are not moving. Our children from schools are at home. Our consumption within the household has gone up. We see there's no need of holding that interest dividend for our members. Let them be given so that the members can use them as they sanitize and take care of their lives at home. Yes.
And when you look at this situation right now, are there any changes that the cooperative societies will be implementing or that are taking place in the cooperative movements moving forward now?
Yes. As a movement, this COVID has given us a few thoughts and ideas, and we have seen our weaknesses, and we are also looking at the opportunities that have come with this. For example, we have noticed that in this country, the agricultural cooperatives have been taken for granted, and yet this without food, no nation can post and say we are developing if you cannot feed your people.
Right.
Now we are seeing great opportunities for SACCOs and agricultural cooperatives coming together to set up a manufacturing cooperative businesses, value addition in dairy sector, in grain, for example, grain drying, aggregating, drying and storage, so that we can be able to have enough food for our growing population. So we see opportunities in value addition, in manufacturing. Can you imagine that in a little while we were not able to get masks for our own people? We are importing some of those small things, and we have noted that when globally we are having a problem, every country goes back to you are alone as a country.
Right.
So we are seeing opportunities in maybe investing in medical care. We will be asking our cooperative societies to come together and even have a big hospital owned by ourselves. We will be able to enter into manufacturing, and we are going to request. We see opportunities in the youth.
Okay.
That the youth in this country have a great potential.
All right.
If they came together, for example, as a cooperative society, to clean in charge of environment and the cleaning of this city. So the city does not need to employ its staff to do the cleaning. You outsource that service to a service cooperative of youth in this country.
Okay.
So we see a lot of opportunities, and the cooperatives are going to become very, very, very strong, and they will be entering into various sectors that we have not been into in the past.
Right. Do you think that at this time, the cooperatives, how are they communicating to their members? Because definitely you've said that most of them cannot come to the banking halls. Do you think that there are new ways of communicating now?
Yeah, now, all our cooperatives, we have our SMS platforms, we have our ICT platforms that we are be able to communicate with our members. Our members are able to get their services through their ICT platforms. So far, and we are also giving limited services within our banking hall, very, very, very limited, so that we are compliant with the health guidelines. So far, and indeed, we are going to invest even more strongly in ICT platforms going forward.
ICT platforms,
yes.
Very important.
Yes.
Well, we are speaking with Daniel Marube. He is the Chief Executive Officer in charge of Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, giving us a picture of how the SACCOs are performing at this time and what needs to be done to ensure that they survive the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, we want to take a quick break. We will be back with this conversation.
Ni kawaida kuanza siku vikawaida, lakini pale ukawaida unapobadilika,
umma una hamu na ari ya kupokea mambo yasiyo ya kawaida kutoka rubaa za kimataifa.
watu na maisha yao,
Mazingira,
biashara na uchumi,
siasa,
michezo na taarifa zinazoboresha maisha.
Ndilo jukumu letu.
Ndio utamaduni wetu.
Ndio ukawaida wetu.
Dunia wiki hii kwa ushirikiano wa KBC na shirika la Shinua kutoka China inakuletea taarifa za kimataifa kwa ufasaha.
Top on Channel 1.
Is it the workout that has you looking so happy?
Of course it is. What else could it be?
I know that look. Coach, it is finally happening.
Well, do you mind telling us what the good news is?
Come on, Julia.
You'll know soon enough. For now, it's confidential.
Next on.
Million faces around the world, but one thing is the same. In their eyes I can see light calling out your name.
Ibada zote ambazo zinaweza kufanyika ndani ya msikiti bado tunaweza kuzifanya manyumbani mwetu, kama vile itikaf ama kusoma Qur'ani, kusali tarawih na mengine mengi ambayo ungetamani kuyafanya ndani ya msikiti, kwa sababu msikiti ni jumba tu, lakini swala na ibada zote zipo kila mahali, kama anavyosema Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kwenye Qur'ani.
Kusaidiana. How can you help me? Naweza cause confusion kati ya Joel na Millicent.
Usikani masikio hivi. Atumfanya nini?
Tuoshe vyombo na nyumba.
Kazi yako ni kukuja tu huku unatutenganisha mimi na bei wangu. Have a good day. Good day gani na tayari saa haribu. Yeye Nancy amekubrainwash. Joel hakani mtoto yote ambaye ni wake. Anawapenda wote sawa.
So mfahamu Joel naye.
Habari yako? Wewe uko kila mahali.
Pia kwa huku. Kwani kuna tabu nyumbani?
This Thursday on KBC Channel 1.
I believe you're still on the clock, so get back to your training.
What happens if I don't?
Job tunde mo.
Nitakumana na wasiwasi.
Sina wasiwasi, I'm just tired.
Jack is packing her bags to leave for Uganda.
It's a shame.
We can't blame her.
Program that is objective and offers answers to matters economic, security, social, political, food, infrastructure, and setting the agenda. Join us for Charging Currents.
Thank you for staying with Channel 1. This is BizCheck here, and we are having a conversation on matters cooperative societies with Daniel Marube. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you, Betty.
Before we went on that break, you mentioned something about the SACCOs incorporating ICT in what they do. Could you expound on that?
Yes. You know, we are now in a digital world. Mm-hmm. And who knew, for example, when Safaricom was coming, that it will become a bank? Because at the moment, we are all banking through a digital platform of
mobile money, right?
Mobile money. Mm-hmm. So as cooperatives also, we have seen great opportunities to come together and invest on shared platforms, on a digital shared platform for economies of scale and to manage our costs. Because when I look globally in the country, when each country, each society, each SACCO is investing on its own system, the system within 3 years, it becomes obsolete and they are expensive. What I'm seeing going to happen the way forward is that we are going to come together and put strong, secure ICT system, digital system, that our members can be able to use. Because at the moment, some of our cooperative societies in the rural areas, in the countryside, they are manual. They are operating on a manual, on cards and the paperwork, and maybe one computer or so.
Okay.
And yet other cooperative societies and circles, they have invested extremely very secure, very high systems. So what I'm seeing going forward is that we may be having some medium and small cooperative societies coming together and investing on a shared platform that can be able to bring all members of the cooperative society operating just like any other commercial bank or any other mobile money platform. So that is an area, because we see right now some societies are struggling to communicate with their members, to access their statements, to access funds. So that that is one of the greatest opportunities I see, that post-COVID, that you will see us talking more and more on these shared digital and ICT platforms.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think that this will even be a very pertinent area in attracting the young people to join circles and even take their place in the cooperative society? Because most youth are attracted to tech-savvy companies. Yeah?
Yes. Now, the youth want to access their funds immediately. They want access. You don't want to go and waste time queuing in a cooperative society.
With papers,
Yes, you want to go to your internet, apply for your loan, and within 48 hours you get a response and the money is in your account. You can access it from wherever you are. That is where we are taking our cooperative sector, either in transport, in agricultural cooperatives, in whatever circles that you will be in. I want to assure you, in the next few years, the cooperatives will be the place where people will come to do business, because digitally, on ICT platforms, we will be at par with any other leading bank in the world.
Okay, and I have a feeling that the cooperatives are now playing catch-up, because most other sectors have already gone digital. There are also the digital apps that many young people are getting their funds from. And despite the high rates of interest there, they are also just accessing them easily. Is this catch-up?
I could say yes and no. 20% of some of our leading circles have invested heavily on a digital platforms, and they are extremely very, very far.
Okay.
You can apply your loan from a mobile phone, and you can get a notification. You can use that money without even going to the banking hall or within the facilities. So a small percentage have gone that far. But the bigger number of our cooperative society, we are actually catching up. And because ICT is dynamic, the application which is at the top today will not be at the top next year.
Yes.
So because of that dynamic changes and the development within ICT, we want to bring the cooperative societies and circles together, so that it becomes easier for us to continuously upgrade our systems cost effectively. So the cost is the reason why some of our circles are still following up. But when we come together and we have that synergy, financial cost advantage, then we can be able to continuously upgrade our systems and make sure that our members are getting the best there is in the market. Yeah.
Let's talk about the leadership of cooperative societies. There have been a number of circles that have gone down because of poor leadership. What is your alliance, as well as just the leadership of the cooperatives now, ensuring that it is responsible? What can be done?
I like you have said some. So it's not
a blanket.
It's not a big problem within the cooperative sector that we are having a leadership problem. Do you know some people are still holding the idea of the 60s? People think that the cooperatives and the circles we have of the moment, they are running the way we were running in the 20 years or 30 years ago. No. The leaders we have today at the circles, they are vetted in terms of their integrity, in terms of their educational background, to ensure that the SACCO leaders we have are able to interrogate books of accounts. They are able to have, they have a vision. Yeah? Don't you know that some of our SACCOs are holding high portfolio than some of the banks in this country?
That is correct.
That shows you that we have good leaders. We have good leadership. And number two, our members have a chance, have opportunity, they have the authority to change the leadership if they deem that they are not taking their SACCO in the right direction. That notwithstanding, Betty, notice that we have continuous training. Every cooperative society, there is a budget for continuous training. We train our staff, we train our board members, so that we make sure, because this is a business, we are holding money. We are doing business like any other. So we make sure that, and the CAK ourselves, we are ahead in making sure that we are training our people on taxation, for example, financial and literacy and taxation. We are also training our cooperative society on cybersecurity and how do we need to invest on secure systems. So there is a lot of training going on, and I wanted to remove that fear, that notion people have, that cooperatives have issues. But I can tell you, yes, there are some cooperative societies who are operating, but they are not really, they are using the name cooperative society, but they are not a cooperative society. Individuals have formed cooperative societies, and they are running them as an individual. And you can name them, you know them. Those ones have issues of leadership, because now the SACCO has been formed around a pastor, all right? Around a bishop, around an individual. So the individual is the one who makes decisions in that cooperative societies. Those are the cooperative society and SACCOs which are spoiling the name of the movement. And there are not many. There are a few. And most of them, they never last for 5 years.
Okay. So if someone is shopping, say, for a cooperative society to join, what should they be looking out for? Because you wouldn't want to be, you know, crying at the end of it all that my money is gone.
Yes. Number one, you need to find out for the last 2-3 years, has this cooperative society books been audited and filed by the Commission of Cooperatives? How often does this society hold their AGM? Who are the leaders? Do they elect their leaders from time to time? If you find a cooperative society which does not hold an AGM, does not hold their leaders into account in terms of the decisions they are making, then that's not the kind of a cooperative society you want to go into. You need to go into a place where democracy, member participation is being upheld. Then you know here my voice can be heard. Yes,
that is very important.
Yeah, but you can easily see a SACCO, a cooperative society or a SACCO run like a pyramid. You need to run away from it. Or you can call CAK to find out there's a cooperative society here, I want to know more about it. We can be able to help you, to give you information.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious, even as we sanitize or as we clean the boardrooms, are the youth being just involved in that decision-making table?
You know, in our bylaws, we have provided for gender and youth provisions. We have provided for that. However, you know, cooperatives is run democratically. You have to be a member and be at the AGM at the time when we are electing leaders. So we don't have just slots for youth to nominate a youth to come and sit in the board. You have to be a member. You have to attend the AGM. You have to show interest that you want to become a leader.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
But there is a provision for the youth and the women. 1/3 gender is being implemented.
Okay.
Yes.
We continue this conversation in a little bit, but now we want to take you, our viewer, to Westlands, where the Al-Khair Foundation is donating about 50,000 masks to the Ministry of Health. Our reporter Suleiman Yeri is there. Let's listen to what's going on the ground.
One or two things regarding what we have seen happen in the last 1 week or so. The localities that we have imposed not a lockdown but movement restrictions happen to be the locality of Isli, Nairobi, and Old Town in Mombasa. This came about because we have an emergency operation team, rapid response teams working together with the county similar structures to follow cases when they are found positive. And it is important to trace those cases, the contact tracing. When we look at the contact tracing and we map the way we are following people who have been exposed, of course we identify areas where we feel that there has been some level of exposure through this contact tracing, and that is then where we consider those areas could be fertile ground for community transmission, and then we can move in there and do targeted testing, and if that reveals to us indeed that there is substantial transmission in that community, it is only then that certain of these measures can be imposed. And I want to clear the air that in terms of the government response, there is no profiling whatsoever in any form. We are working in the best interest of public health in taking these measures, and as we continue to do our targeted testing in some of the high-risk areas, we will come to see in future that the similar actions will also probably be taken in some of these. It is just by chance that we happen to have the first two areas that we put restricted movements on happen to be areas where the majority of the community that resides in those areas are Muslims. So I want to reassure you of that. And I also want to take again this opportunity to thank you, Al-Khair Foundation, for the good work you are doing, to accept the donations that you are making to the Ministry of Health. I can assure you that these masks will be distributed appropriately to where they are needed. And to all other well-wishers, I want to urge you to come forward and support this war that we are fighting as a nation. Thank you.
Tumpeleke huko.
There are three sizes, large, medium, and small.
Well, those are Health Ministry officials there receiving 50,000 masks from Al-Khair Foundation in Westlands. And remember that masks for the frontline soldiers, those are the health or medics who are fighting the COVID-19 at the frontline, are very important. So such acts of giving are definitely welcome. Yeri Suleiman will be bringing us a detailed report of that story in a little while. But now we want to continue with our conversation here in studio. We are with Daniel Marube, the Chief Executive Officer of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Before we went to Westlands, Marube, you were talking about incorporating the young people in leadership positions in the cooperative society. Kindly go on.
Yes, I wanted to encourage the youth that cooperatives is for the youth. The future of this country is in the hands of the youth.
Okay.
And unless the youth join cooperatives this early, they are losing a great opportunity of creating wealth for themselves. And I know most cooperative people think that cooperatives is for agriculture, coffee, tea, berethram, and rice, and the rest. There is a lot of opportunities for the youth in cooperatives. For example, as we have been discussing about ICT and the like. There are so many young people out there who are graduates with ICT knowledge, and they are looking for employment. And I'm saying they can come together, for example, and form an ICT service cooperative society, so that they can be able, as a cooperative society, providing ICT services and support to all the 14,000 cooperative societies. I mean, 24,000 cooperative societies. You can see the opportunities for the youth.
Okay.
The youth can come together and say, we can form a cooperative society to plant trees, cleaning and environment. There's great opportunities. Green energy, for example. The youth can come together and form a cooperative society to provide solar energy, wind energy together as a company, but as cooperative society. The cooperative societies, we need the youth to come, join, and come and take leadership from the old people. We are willing to train and hand over to them, but we can't come to you where you are seated. You need to come up, come and help us and tell us, as youth, we can enter into manufacturing of honey, for example. So the farmers can grow, they can keep the beekeeping, but you do the processing and packaging and the marketing of the value addition. So I really want the youth who are suffering, going around looking for jobs in the offices, to think, come together, think cooperatives, come to the cooperatives. We are ready to provide you with the starting, if you form a good cooperative, you can be able to get a startup loans to start your business.
Okay, you've mentioned something interesting, that many people still have this mindset of cooperatives are for agriculture or for farmers. Don't you think that it is time that cooperatives now work together to change that mindset?
Yes, indeed. We are doing a lot of training and education. For example, I said we can be able, as a cooperative movement, we can collaborate, we can work together, we can bring our resources together, and even build a very big hospital than Kenyatta Hospital. We have the resources, and we can be able to employ people. I'm saying that even the doctors can come together and form a cooperative of doctors who are providing services based on their training, on their expertise. So we're saying that cooperative is not only agriculture. It's only that agriculture was the mother of cooperatives.
Right.
But at the moment, cooperatives have evolved. We are having service cooperatives that people can come together and form a cooperative. For example, the builders, the masons and electricians who are being employed by Chinese people on a day-to-day basis. Why can't they come together and form a cooperative? So that if you are building, you want to put up a big building, or you want to build your own home, you go to a cooperative that provides building services.
Right.
Yeah, electrical services, plumbing services. So that's the only way then they can be able to bargain for better income for the services that they are rendering.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't you think that now it's the time for cooperatives to have messaging that is directed to the changing of this mindset then?
Yes, indeed.
And are they doing that?
It's our responsibility as the CAK and the NACOS, that's the National Cooperative Unions like CUSCO, like CIC. We are really putting in a lot of messages. We are going in to bring in the youth. And I can tell you, we still already have quite a number of service cooperatives in this country. I know one time we sat here with the youth who have come together, and they are building, they are winning contracts to do major buildings, and even part of the government is giving them services. So I'm encouraging those other youth. They have finished school, they have a skill, but they don't have jobs. Come together, we need those skills. Those skills are required by the government. All we need to do is to change our minds and our attitudes and focus and say, this is what we can provide for the development of this country, and there will be opportunities for them.
Right. Speaking of governments, what is are the county governments, now that the cooperatives are a devolved function, are they doing enough to support the sector?
I could say that some counties have done extremely very well, and others are still very far behind.
Okay.
Cooperatives is a devolved function. It was devolved to the county governments, and the county governments, some of them were not prepared to receive this function, and they were never given priorities, They were not given enough resources and the personnel to carry on this particular function. Now, what we have done so far, we have developed a national cooperative policy. The policy has stipulated what function can be carried out by the national government and what has been devolved completely to the county governments. Once we start implementing this particular policy, it's going to call upon the county governments to set aside substantial budget to support the youth in cooperatives, women in cooperatives, establishing new youth cooperatives, and also developing and enhancing the agricultural cooperatives within the county governments, so that we can form county unions which can be able to provide for all those services. I can name a few. There are several cooperatives, counties that I can mention that have done very well in terms of cooperatives. Muranga, Yeri, for example, Professor Kibuda Kibwana has spent a lot of time and money to strengthen the cooperative sector in that area, and you can see the per capita income in the household within that area has gone up because of investing more in cooperatives.
Right.
So really we want to encourage the county governments, if you want to change the lives of your people within the county, invest in cooperatives.
Investing in cooperatives. Ultimately, it's investing in people, yeah?
Yes.
And now that the cooperatives are devolved, they are closer to the people. What is their role in ensuring that people are financially literate? Because most people, they just have money, they think that having money is having wealth, or they don't know how to create that wealth. What is their role in ensuring that people are financially literate?
Now, when the county government strengthen the structures, they have a department, they have the county cooperative officers. Some of them are extremely well trained, they understand what they do. What they need is resources for training. We need to have continuous training for our people, the youth, the coffee cooperative societies, the dairy cooperative societies, the rice growing cooperatives. Cotton, for example, is becoming a greatest opportunity for cooperatives in this country. Investing in farmers to grow cotton, so that we cannot manufacture without having raw material, and the raw material can be grown in this country. We can be self-sufficient in textile industry, for example. So what we are urging the county governments to do is to have appropriate personnel, train people, give them budgets, and have what we call extension services. Cooperative extension services. Field officers who will be able to go to women group, teach them about cooperatives, teach them about financial literacy on how to save and invest. The youth, how they can bring the youth together. That extension services is what is lacking and is what is required to jumpstart this great opportunity we have as cooperatives in our counties. Yes.
It's good that you've mentioned some of those agricultural subsectors that exist, because it is in the rural populations that most of the food in this country is produced, really. So there is a role that cooperatives can play in even building the agriculture sector beyond what it already is, just the farming, beyond what it already is, ensuring that there's value addition. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much. I read that 40% of all the grains produced in this country goes to West in 3 areas, either by pests or by it gets spoiled because it was not proper aflatoxin. All right? We waste 40% of what we produce.
That is huge.
And this is and another 40% is wasted in the household. About 40-50% is wasted. You buy bread, 2 pieces of bread. You eat one, and at the end of the day, the day after 2 days, a half of the bread is wasted.
It's thrown away.
Okay, thrown away. So we need to gauge the county government and the national government. If we invested in silos, we invested in mobile dryers, so that a farmer who grows maize, the moment you harvest, let the machinery come, shell your maize, dry it, and take it to your the storage. So what is lacking, and the government can help by forming our cooperatives in the grain sector, is how do we dry our grains, so that we don't waste our harvest. Number two, storage. A farmer does not need to start worrying how to dry my maize. Where do I take it for storage? Let the cooperatives in the county government, through the county governments, form unions that takes care of drying your maize, storing it, and we give you a voucher to say, Betty produced 60 bags of maize, it's here. You will sell your dry maize when you feel you want to sell it, so that our farmers can get value out of what they are doing. And number two, the cooperatives can come together, like for example in Kitale, Eldoret, Washington Gishu, to start their milling, a miller, so that you produce your maize, you give it to your cooperative society, the cooperative society will do the milling. Out of milling, you have several products out of it. So, and then at the end of the year, the farmers can be able to share the gains through value addition in their value chain.
Right.
Yes.
So what is clearly evident is that the cooperatives can even help in alleviating the problems that the agriculture sector has been facing, right?
True speaking, that through cooperative, if the Ministry of Agriculture worked very closely with cooperatives, food shortage in this country will be eliminated. But the only problem we have is that farmers produce, but their business, other people who want to import and spoil the prices of our farmers. And then at the end of the day, if a farmer, you are not getting returns, the following year you don't have the spirit of wanting to invest more in
the
farming.
farm.
So I'm really urging the Minister of Agriculture to make sure that the Ministry of Agriculture that deals with production, and the cooperatives which will deal with aggregation and putting things together into the granary, to work it together. If we work together, we can be able to feed our growing population. As if you saw the statistics, our population, but 65% is below what? It's very young people, which means in the next 10 years, the population of this country will double. If we double the population, are we doubling food production? The only solution on food security is to strengthen agricultural cooperatives.
Agricultural cooperatives. Food security is, of course, a pillar in the Big Four agenda of the government, and it's a very important part of the government's agenda to ensure that people's lives are better. Are the cooperatives given the place they deserve in this plan?
Not yet. Because, for example, let me tell you, if the government has been very kind, subsidizing fertilizers to the farmers, how I wish that fertilizer was distributed through cooperatives. Because a cooperative, within a cooperative, we know who has 2 acres, who has 10 acres, who has what kind of acreage, and therefore we will be able to give them the appropriate quantities. But if it's being distributed elsewhere, you have heard through the media many times, people say that maybe 40% only reaches the farmers, maybe the rest of it goes back again to the market. So I think if we work together with cooperatives, distribution of fertilizers, quality seeds, aggregation of the produce, extension services. Let me tell you, when coffee and tea was being planted, was introduced in this country, every farmer was attached to an extension officer, agricultural extension officer, who could guide you on how to plant the maize, how much fertilizer to put, how do you grow your tea, how much fertilizer do you put to your coffee. The extension services, I think, is a service that has been devolved to the county government. But you can ask your viewers, how many of the farmers have ever seen an agricultural extension service officer coming to his farm? So I'm saying that through cooperatives then, the government can attach agricultural agronomist and agricultural extension officer into a cooperative society. So then from that particular area, a farmer can be able to get the services of a qualified extension services officer to grow, to increase our production. So that by now I don't think we are growing our production because we are not getting that advice I don't know exactly what the Minister of Agriculture is doing, because from my county where I am, a small farmer, I have never seen an agricultural extension officer passing by.
Okay. So can public and private partnerships work? Because sometimes it is said that the government cannot do everything. What can the private sector also do?
Now, yes, I know in several areas in the country, we have brought together farmers and linked them with the private sector, who comes and picks the produce for processing and value addition. I think going forward, that partnership is very critical, and we will need to enhance it so that the farmer can continue producing, knowing there is a market. So our role will be linking the farmer to the market, and also the business partnership with the private sector is very key. We have done that in Sogam. We are doing that also in Bali. People are doing that, and I think. And also in Cassava. In Cassava, we are having that kind of partnership. So really, I think that is the way forward.
Okay.
That's another area that we can be able to quickly support our agricultural cooperatives.
Now, let's discuss, let's get back to the stability of cooperative societies.
Yes.
At this time, when they are going through some challenges, some liquidity challenges, what is the place of partnerships now? Do you foresee that there will be partnerships between maybe smaller cooperatives, mergers, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, at the moment, as I said, people outside here are amplifying that SACCOs are having serious cash flow problems.
Okay.
We don't have evidence to that effect. Actually, as at yesterday, I have done a little inquiries. Cooperatives and SACCOs, they are serving their members.
Okay.
And the members understand that cooperatives, a SACCO does not necessarily have cash awaiting, because we aggregate, we receive our money, and lend it to the same members. And also what we are saying is that the little that we have, we are still serving our members effectively. Those members who are able to repay their loans, they are doing so. Those who have challenges, they are welcome to see their management within their cooperative societies to negotiate whether they need more time to pay the loan, or what kind of terms they want to vary. And being a cooperative society, we are people-centered. Okay. Cooperatives listen to their members because we are member-owned the cooperative society, and they consume the services of the cooperative society. So when they come together, we listen. We are not like banks that will come running to auction your property. Cooperative society, we will listen to our members. If a member, you have a problem, just go to your cooperative society, give your proposal on how you want to repay the loan. Because the loan you have taken does not belong to the cooperative society. It's the money that has been taken from your fellow members. So you have to repay the loan, and all we need to know is, do you need more time? Do you need us to reschedule? And that is provided, and it will be available through your leaders that you have elected in your cooperative society.
Okay.
Going forward, as you were asking about, very small cooperatives may not be viable. We would want to urge them through training to ask some of the medium and small cooperatives in a particular sector to come together and match and form a strong cooperative society, because the strength of a cooperative society depends on numbers.
Right.
The more the people you are, the stronger you become, because you are able then to share the risks. So we will be encouraging members and the cooperative societies which are small, with small numbers, to match together to create new cooperatives. And that indeed will be a new thing that you will see post-COVID. Yes.
24,000, you said, is the number?
Yes, we have over 24,000 registered cooperatives. Some of them are just not even breaking even. So some of them are dormant. So we will clean up. We will want to clean up our register and make sure that we are viable cooperatives. Viable cooperatives.
Right.
The smaller ones can match, provided you are within the same the same sector. Yes.
So that means this is a defining moment for the cooperative movements.
I'm telling you, the COVID has made us to think wider and deeper.
It has made
going
everyone.
Going to the future, because now we will not be able to do our cooperative business just as we used to do last year. Things
How
have
so?
changed. Yes.
How so?
Now, for example, we are going to enter into new sectors. I've talked about manufacturing. I'm talked about value addition. I'm talked about service in cooperatives, youth coming in to provide a service as a cooperative. And our management is going to change. Our thinking, the way we are making our decisions. We are going to invest more in ICT, because now ICT is going to be the way we will be doing our business in. We have seen our weaknesses, so we are going to strengthen ourselves within those pillars to make sure that we are will be more felt within our societies more. So those are some of the areas that I see post-COVID that will be able to put more effort in it.
Right.
You realize some of the actually cooperatives own more land than anybody else. Between here to Namanga, name it, wherever, we have bought a lot of land which is idle. Maybe going forward, we may not be investing so much in buying land, but going into processing and manufacturing, where we can be able to create more impact in employment and wealth creation.
Right.
Yes, those are some of the things that we are seeing opportunities as a result of COVID-19.
Definitely, the pandemic has changed the mindset of very many people and even very many sectors.
Yes.
Yeah, as you rightly put it, the issue of social responsibility, much as cooperatives are people-centered, there has not been much going on, yeah? So what exactly is the plan moving forward?
At this particular moment, we have formed a COVID response committee. The committee, I'm a member of that committee. What we are doing is we are now mobilizing resources from the cooperative societies as corporates and from members, from individual members. We want to aggregate and see how many of our cooperative members who have suffered a lot as a result of COVID, so that we can be able to buy sanitizers, masks, food, we give food vouchers and all that, so that we can be able to empathize. We are also an empathizing organizations, so that we can be able to support our members. So the account has been opened with the Cooperative Bank. It's already existing. Account number 011 43 16 402 9200. You can be able to send your 50 shillings, 200, 150, 2,000. So we have an account that we are aggregating with the Cooperative Bank. If you want, they will ask for a COVID response fund. It's available. We also have a baby number. A baby number is 400 222. It's also that takes you to Cooperative Bank, and also our code number is 557473. You can be able to donate. We have more than 14 million members, and we are saying if each member did their part, you want to give 20,000, 5,000, 1,000 shillings, 200 shillings, as you wish to support your fellow cooperator who is suffering, it's most welcome.
Right.
It's most welcome.
So how will this fund now be distributed once it's...
Once the funds come, we have the team. We have a team that is dealing with the logistics. We could be able to identify which area, then we would work with the national government in that particular county, so that we can be able to have an orderly way of distributing. We intended to give vouchers, so that a member is given a voucher to go to a specific, for example, and pick a package already determined at a supermarket.
Yes. That is now for this time of the pandemic.
Yes.
Now, what of beyond that now, impacting the community beyond the pandemic?
Beyond that, we are going to have a national cooperative foundation. We have to start a foundation now that can be able to look at those needs going forward, because this is not going to be the last epidemic. Maybe another one will come in another 5 years.
Well,
So we
hopefully
do
not.
not want. So we don't want to be caught unawares. So we want to maybe establish a foundation where the cooperatives could be putting in some fund to be able to respond quickly to such a kind of emergencies when they emerge.
You've rightly put that you do not want to be caught unawares. So ensuring the stability of the sector now, moving forward, what is going to be done?
Number one, I want to assure everybody that the cooperatives are going to emerge stronger. That the cooperatives, we are strong. They are still very strong, and we are going to emerge even much stronger post-COVID. One thing is that our people are good savers. We will continue saving. Even during this time of epidemic and the economy going down, people are still saving. That culture of saving is within us. We need to include the youth. We want to encourage the youth not to eat whatever you have. Save. Because what you save now is what will determine your wealth tomorrow. So really, we will enhance our management policies. We will make sure that we have strong structures within our cooperatives that can be able to take us even further. I know we have very strong leaders. Our cooperatives are being run by extremely qualified, well-trained board members and staff. But we are saying going forward, we will enhance our training. We will see where the world is moving to so that we give our board members knowledge, give our employees the necessary training and knowledge, have the prerequisite ICT platforms within it, put security, cyber security a priority into that particular area. And I want to assure this country that it is cooperatives that will turn around the lives, the socio-economic lives of our people. And this is the time, if you have never been a member of a cooperative society, this is the time you need to run in and hide yourself in a cooperative society.
Okay. Now, the regulatory environment that the cooperative societies are managing in, do you think it favors their growth, their being there, and even their growth?
Now, I have already alluded that we have now a national cooperative policy.
Right.
You know, since 2010, when we had the Constitution, there has been kind of a vacuum. Now, and SASRA as a regulator only regulates to those deposit-taking SACCOs, which are about 170 SACCOs out of about 4,000 SACCOs already taking deposits. Some are medium and small. But we have now regulation to bring on board all SACCOs with about 100 million capital under regulation. So we want to ensure that as CK, that the policy which is now in place, that the laws, the acts which will be coming out of it, the regulations which are going to be enacted are facilitative, that they will encourage people to join the cooperatives and that they will not inhibit cooperatives from venturing into profitable businesses as long as their members are in agreement. So we will make sure that the regulatory framework is conducive, is facilitative, it's not punitive, and that it encourages both national government, county governments to create proper infrastructure for cooperatives to thrive. Without cooperatives, I don't know how many people could be affording houses.
Right. Yeah. That is definitely very important. And it is not, it is inarguable about the place that cooperatives have in supporting the economy. Do you think that beyond the 35% of national savings, the 1 trillion balance sheet, the big loan portfolio of close to 800 billion, is there more that can be achieved?
I think we can do much more in housing. We can do more in education sector. We can do we have a lot of opportunities to invest in manufacturing and value addition. Cooperatives can invest in health sector. Actually, this is the time we have realized that we could have invested earlier in the cooperative sector. You know, let me give you an example that once you hit 60 years, to get a comprehensive insurance cover in this country is very difficult. But cooperatives can come together because the life expectancy of Kenyans at the moment is beyond 80, isn't it?
Right.
Now, what would happen to you from 60 to 80 without insurance cover? So we are thinking that we can model our insurance as cooperatives within that area to cater for the aged people, the age between 60 and above. We can be able to create hospitals where our members as cooperators, you go with your card of your cooperative society, you go to a hospital and you are treated, and then we can be able to debit your account at the SACCO or your cooperative society account. So those are some of the great opportunities I see. Investing in the health sector, investing in manufacturing and processing and the marketing of various opportunities. We see the youth coming together to provide service cooperatives in various sectors, in ICT support, in cleaning, in tree planting, in environment, name it, in building and constructions, youth coming together and forming cooperatives. And this country will change drastically because we have a supportive government, really. The government is struggling alone. You know, I feel pain when I hear every day, oh, the government has not bought us masks. We have not seen sanitizing items from the government. The government cannot do that.
It enables
what we do is the government will create infrastructure for us. We need good laws and regulations so that we enter in as cooperatives and we change our lives. Change will come from us, not the government.
It comes from us, definitely.
Yes.
Could you speak about the product innovation that needs to be done now in the SACCOs?
Yeah, you know, innovation is demand-driven.
Right.
So, for example, you could say, what do people need at the moment? Going forward, as we said earlier, people don't want to queue in a bank or in a SACCO to get the services. You want to log into your phone or into your computer and get the services that you want. The innovation, greater innovations, will be on products that will be meeting the needs of our youth, of our retirees, meeting the family, you know, the whole family, from a children to the old person.
Okay.
So we will be modeling products and services to meet the needs of the entire life cycle.
Okay. Well, we continue with this. Just hold that thought. We'll continue in a little bit. But now we want to go to the Clinical Workers Union. They are having a press briefing. Let's listen into that.
The public. And we said that as unions, we want to take a collaborative approach so that we can be able to sit together with the ministry and the players, the Council of Governors, and say that this is where the gaps are. This is where our workers are exposed. And then we can together provide a solution. From the onset of the pandemic, each one of us have written to the employers asking them that we need this collaboration so that our people will not be exposed. About 2 months after, we have not been involved. Nobody seems who oversights what is being done so that workers can be protected. And that is why we have Article 41 of the Kenyan Constitution that says that every employee has a right to reasonable working conditions that are safe, to fair remuneration, to join a union.
That is Peterson Wachira. He is the chair of the Clinical Officers Union of Kenya, just giving the plight of the clinical officers. They want risk allowance and many more demands that they have there at this time when they're fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, we continue with our conversation here in studio. Daniel Marube, he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Daniel, could you just continue giving us that overview of product innovation?
Yes. You see, product innovation will be deeper on different sectors. For example, in the agricultural sector, the coffee farmers, the tea farmers, our leadership will be thinking around how can we sustainably provide services to the satisfaction of a dairy farmer, for example. What does a dairy farmer require from a cooperative society? Do you need veterinary services? You need advisory services? You need some inputs. So the cooperative societies within that sector, the dairy sector, we will need to look at the value chain and the inputs and how to link our products to the market, so that we make sure that we have greater value. I know cooperatives in agriculture, in coffee, for example, they are not getting as much as they ought to. The cup of coffee is so expensive, and yet the farmer is not getting much out of it. So we need also to think around that particular product, which is our key exporter from this country. Is the farmer getting value out of it? What changes, what reforms do we need around it? Similarly, in the financial circles, we're asking a young man, what does he need today and in 20 years to come? So we need to incorporate all these people, invest on the necessary infrastructure that is required, so that we make sure when you come into a circle, you never leave it, because anything that you require, it's available. You can find it in. So I'm seeing quite a number of cooperative circles at the moment. They have started recruiting innovators to think ahead, to see the needs of our members where they are going, so that we can be able to be in line, in tandem with the thinking and the requirements of our people.
Okay, and as we come to a close of this conversation, what would your closing remarks be, the way forward now for the cooperatives?
Thank you very much. My closing remark is to give hope to our members of the movement, to tell you that, to affirm to all our cooperators that the cooperative movement is solid. In spite of the economic activities that we are seeing going down, our cooperative movement is in a solid rock. We are moving on. We are going to emerge even much stronger. I will urge our members to continue saving the little that you have, cut down on your costs, so that we can be able to manage the events of these activities at the moment, and also faithfully to follow the guidelines provided by the government through the Ministry of Health, because we want you, our members, alive tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you very much, Daniel Marube.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that was the Chief Executive Officer of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, Daniel Marube, giving us an in-depth analysis of the cooperative societies at this time, what they are doing to survive, how they are supporting members to ensure that they have some sort of money or income at this time when the COVID-19 pandemic has hit many hard. Over 500,000 jobs lost in various sectors. The hospitality, tourism, aviation sectors have been greatly affected. But of course, as he says, there is hope and we shall come out strong. Thank you very much for watching BizCheck this morning. I will leave you in the able hands of my colleague Timothy Kipnusu, coming in with Tamrini, which is up next. My name is...
Channel 1.
Is it the workout that has you looking so happy?
Of course it is. What else could it be?
I know that look. Coach, it is finally happening.
Well, do you mind telling us what the good news is?
Come on, Julia.
You'll know soon enough. For now, it's confidential.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
One needs to exert self-control in order to concentrate. Anger is a sign of incapability, whereas patience is the origin of strength and vitality.
Next on.
Million faces around the world, but one thing is the same. In their eyes I can see light calling out your name.
Ibada zote ambazo zinaweza kufanyika ndani ya msikiti bado tunaweza kuzifanya manyumbani mwetu, kama vile itikaf ama kusoma Qur'ani, kusali tarawih na mengine mengi ambayo ungetamani kuyafanya ndani ya msikiti, kwa sababu msikiti ni jumba tu, lakini swala na ibada zote zipo kila mahali, kama anavyosema Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kwenye Qur'ani.
Coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory virus spreading across the world. The infection is spread from droplets of coughing and sneezing of an infected person, touching or shaking hands, or being in contact with contaminated surfaces or objects with the virus. The signs and symptoms are fever, coughing, headache, body ache.